There are so many flowers that we need to be putting into our gardens, but I want to give you the 5 very best flowers that need to be put into our gardens to ward off all the pesky bugs that do a lot of damage. So stick with me. We're going to head out to the garden right now.
They're fluffy.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you're here because we're going to be talking about flowers. They play a really important role in the garden because they bring pollinators to help our gardens thrive as well as bring us the harvest. But they don't only do that. They also serve as trap crops. What are trap crops? Great question. I'd love to answer. These flowers attract pollinators. Yes, they do. But they also entice the pests to feed on the flowers instead of the food that you're trying to grow for yourself or your family. So trap crops. A couple of things to know before we even get started on this list is that all these flowers actually grow well in every single climate. Here in the armpit of Oklahoma, where we have hot and dry and all the wind, they do really, really well. And also, if we plant these in full sun, they're going to give us more blooms, which is exactly what we want when we plant these kinds of flowers. So now knowing that, let's get started. Number 1 is nasturtiums. They are like a garden treasure to me. They come in all kinds of colors, reds, pinks, purples, yellows, oranges, and with a sweet peppery taste, they are edible. Now with nasturtiums, you want to be sure to know what variety you're getting. They come in a vining and a bush variety. The bush is more compact. The vining one can get a little bit of alarming and take off, but if you put it on a trellis, it looks really nice, as well as it makes a really good living mulch. It can suppress those weeds. Who doesn't need help with weeds, right? These guys like to trap squash bugs. Who doesn't hate those, right? So don't be stingy and throw these guys everywhere. A little tip that I've learned when growing nasturtiums is that you want to kind of rough up that shell of the seed because it is a bit tough. I do this just by rubbing them between my palms. I have a faster, better overall germination when I do this. Now, number 2 are sunflowers. The really cool thing about these beauties is that they actually can decontaminate the soil. You don't be planting them next to your potatoes or your beans though, because they can prohibit those from growing. I do like to put them next to squash because pests will actually go after the sunflowers rather than my squash plants. So plant them next to squash. There are quite a few varieties of sunflowers, but my favorite has to be the teddy bear variety just because they look fuzzy. But you do want to be careful of choosing your variety just because, you know, some can grow really, really big and overcrowd or overshadow your garden that you're trying to grow. So be careful of that. Next are marigolds, and their scent is so strong that they deter bigger pests. Like deer, they don't like them, and I can't even remember the last time I saw a rabbit. I mean, I know that I've seen rabbits around our property, but I've never caught them inside my garden munching on anything. They also have a root-releasing chemical that actually deters nematode population, so if you have trouble with that, be sure to plant marigolds. These are really beginner friendly. They're easy to grow. I do recommend a French variety like the Cracker Jack, even though these are really pretty to look at, but they're not going to be as potent in stench. So French variety is the way to go to deter your pests the best. Next up is calendula. Do not confuse the two when I say it is also known as pot marigold. The reason why is just because you can put it in a pot. It is edible. And not only is it edible, it has a long list of medicinal uses. But don't confuse it with marigold because they are 2 separate different plants. Talk about a plant that just keeps on giving, because when you plant these next to tomatoes, they will actually deter those hornworms that we just don't want in our gardens. They decimate a plant overnight, and it just, to save you from heartache, plant you some calendula over there. Last one, zinnias. Please plant zinnias in your garden because they are going to give you endless blooms all season long, which you need because they are going to attract all those pollinators that will basically defend your garden for you. Assassin bugs, those are creepy, but they're bugs like that that actually do the work for you. And you do want to plant these away from your cucumbers because they do compete for the same nutrients. Other than that, plant them everywhere, sporadically even. Now, of all these flowers, these have to be my favorite just because they come in so many different colors. Now, with all 5 flowers, you can actually deadhead these, which is basically the cutting off of old blooms, and they were going to continuously give you blooms all season long. Now, planting these flowers aren't always going to be a guaranteed solution. It's just a pest management. And as a bonus, go ahead and plant some flowers out there because whenever I walked into my garden every single time and was greeted with all the pops of color, it just made my heart feel really good. It just made me feel good. So if anything, plant them because it'll make you feel good. But anyway, I hope this helps. Bye, guys. Was this a guaranteed? Thank you, Gerald. Hi. Oh, Gerald, you kill me.